Hello and welcome to A Second Look Math. Today we are taking a second look at fractions of fractions. We're going to do this through the use of a word problem. In this problem, our friend Paul has 3/5 of a pizza left, meaning he's eaten a couple fifths. And he decides to share 1/2 of what he has with his friends. How much of the original pizza will he share with his friends? So let's take a look at this problem step by step. The first thing is when I draw a picture of fractions, I don't usually use circles, even though that may be initially what you think of when you think of a pizza. I think for drawing the fractions, a square is going to be much easier for us. When I use squares, then I can use straight lines to divide it up and break it up into fractions. Paul has 3/5 of a pizza left, so I'm going to break my square up into fifths, and then I'm going to go ahead and shade in 3 of the fifths. So this is the amount of pizza that Paul has left. Now let's think about the second fraction. He is deciding to share 1/2 of what he has with his friends. So let's think about exactly what 1/2 is. It's when we take something and divide it into 2, and the 1 in the numerator is telling us that we're talking about one of those 2 halves. Now that we understand that 3/5 and 2 halves are coming together here, let's think of what it means to have 3/5 of the pizza and share half of it. I'm going to take my marker here and divide this 3/5 in half. I think the easiest way to do this is to kind of go straight across the middle and think, well, top half and bottom half, just like we were looking at when we saw the red half a moment ago. Now we can see this 3/5 divided in half, and we can imagine him kind of giving away the top part of that, just like we were saying that this entire top section was 1/2 of the whole pizza. Here he only has 3/5, so 1/2 of it would still be this top piece. Let's look at that with an overlay. So first we have our 3/5 that's in blue, and then I've laid over it a red rectangle that represents 1/2, cutting the pizza in half the other direction. So if he were going to share 1/2 of what he has, now this part here is already gone. That's not pizza that he has, and really neither is this. Of course these are empty. So we were only talking about this section. Notice what's going on with our rectangle now. As we divide it into fifths vertically, that means up and down. As we divide it into fifths with these bars, we are dividing it crossways into halves this direction. By segmenting our rectangle, we are able to actually divide this into what are now tenths. See, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, that's not a 5. There's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. And as we've discussed, this section here is 1/2 of the 3/5 that he had. And so we're talking about 1, 2, 3 tenths of the pizza. 3 tenths of the pizza. So if he has 3/5 of a pizza, and then Paul decides to share 1/2 of what he has, he's sharing these 1, 2, 3 tenths of the original pizza. Now, we've seen this with a diagram, but what would it look like to do 1/2 of 3/5 without a picture? Well, really it's fairly simple, and we'll keep the picture up here just so we have a good grounding in exactly what kind of math is happening here. But if we have 3/5 and we want to take, 3/5, and we want to take 1/2 of that, all we really need to do is multiply by 1/2. That's going to get us 1/2 of our original pizza, or I'm sorry, 1/2 of our piece of pizza, which is 3/5. Now, the rule here for multiplying fractions is fairly simple. If both are in a regular fraction form, we have top times top, 3 times 1 is 3. Bottom times bottom, 5 times 2 is 10. And then simplify. Can we simplify this fraction? No. 3/10 is as simple as it gets. So our answer there is 3/10. So if you have 3/5 and you want to take 1/2 of that because that's what you're sharing, it is 3/10 of the pizza. And I'd like to go through just here quickly and delete the different sections that we're not talking about so we can see. Now this, again, is not part of the pizza we originally had. And if this is the part that we're keeping, then the part that we're giving away here is 3/10 of our pizza. And that is a second look at fractions of fractions.